Hello, everyone. So today we're going to talk about cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is a theory in social psychology that refers to the mental conflict that occurs when a person's behavior and beliefs do not align. I'm sure it happened to you. It happens to the best of us, right? It also happens when you hold two beliefs that contradict one another. Cognitive dissonance can cause feelings of tension. It causes you to feel uneasy about life. Sometimes we try to relieve this by actually acting in a different way. We try to justify dissonances in our lives, but what we want is not dissonance. What we want is cognitive consistency. We don't want a dissonance. We don't want a duality. When we grow, when we develop as human beings, when we show up as the best person that we can be in life, we show up in a sense of focus, of cognitive focus, of cognitive consistency. Does that make sense? When there was, I always give the example of that governor in New York. You remember him years ago? Who was like he was arresting prostitutes all over the place. He was shutting down the places. He was doing just so much. He went out of his way to do this, right? And later on we found out that he was patronizing prostitutes. And then people say, what a hypocrite. Like, what's going on with them? Well, it could be an example of cognitive dissonance. Two conflicting beliefs, two conflicting thoughts. It's okay to me to visit, to patronize a prostitute, but I don't want them to function in my city. Those two conflicting thoughts, and what it does, it makes people erratic. It makes us irrational. Our behaviors look hypocritical. So one of the things that I'm going to just share with us today, some factors that could impact or affect the degree of the dissonance that you have, that a person experiences. So the types of beliefs that you have, beliefs that are more personal, tend to more significant dissonance, and so you have to examine your lives. One of the reasons we have cognitive dissonance because people don't examine their lives. Sometimes we just live life. You wake up in the morning, you do what you're supposed to do, you sleep. You really examine your foundational blocks, the building blocks of your life. What are they? What do you believe? What do you hold to be true? Does this make sense? This is once you begin to examine, an unexamined life will have lots of dissonances, but an examined life will begin to reduce the dissonances that I have in their lives. Some things you've heard growing up that this is good. Maybe you've heard things in religion about God. This is God does this. I'm a Christian, so you go. This is what you've learned in church and your parents and all of these things. But it comes to a point where you are going to examine those concepts. Even Apostle Paul challenged you to go and examine it. Go and examine this thing so that when you you know what is true for you. You know what is true for you. You're no longer under dissonance. So no matter how many, so for me, for example, I know that I'm a Christian. I'm not going to be anything else. No matter, it's just it. I have selected to be this, a Christian. And so you might come and tell me all kinds of theories. You might come and tell me all kinds of things about another religion or non-religion or anything. It doesn't matter. This is my consistency. This is where I have decided to, camp for the rest of my life. So there it is. I have consistency in religion. I have consistency in that area. So there might be areas in your life where you have consistency. There might be other areas where you are inconsistent. So for example, financially, you might have inconsistent. You might find yourself in a dissonance in that way. Well, you want to make a lot of money, but you spend a lot. So you have to sit down and say, okay, why do I have this dissonance? What is going on? you drive that to the edge, drive that thought to the edge, and begin to understand what is coming, what is exactly is happening. Am I hiding something? Did I make a decision when I was younger about money that is influencing my life, even though I know that, saving is good, it's good economic, financial practice. So I examine that, and then I come to a decision. And that examination might take time. It might take me an hour. It could take me a month. It could take me longer. But once I come to a decision, my behavior is going to change. My behavior will be modeled after that which I believe. Does that make sense? So, going back to those factors, another factor is the value of the beliefs. Beliefs that people hold in high regard tend to cause greater dissonance. So, going back to the governor, maybe the society play, maybe they don't place value on prostitution, right? So and he knows this. And so what does he do? He is going to be conflicted, because it's like, I don't think this is okay. I mean, I think this is okay, but the society is saying something else. So my behavior is gonna look like, I'm hiding something, or I'm a hypocrite because I have not decided to be consistent. The next one is the size of the disparity. The size of the disparity. Don't steal a huge gap in the disparity. And so when there's a huge gap in the disparity, you find that it leads to cognitive dissonance. So what are some of the effects? You're going to find, why does it matter? What are some of the effects? Well, it impacts behavior. You're not showing up as your best self, because your mind needs focus. It needs consistency in order for you to be able to show up as someone that can be trusted. So it impacts behavior. It impacts your thoughts. It impacts your decisions that you make. It impacts your beliefs, and it impacts your attitudes. And it also impacts your mental health. I cannot tell you. Okay, so here's a good one. You're married, and you want to, you believe in marriage. You believe that you should get married, right? You believe that you should get married, but at the same time, you want to live like a single person, right? You want to live as a single person. So you're going to, until you have a consistency in those two diverged beliefs, you're going to impact the person you're married to. You're going to be unstable in some of the things that you do, and it's going to torment you mentally. Does that make sense? All right. So people experience cognitive dissonance. You find out that sometimes you have anxiety, sometimes you're anxious, you shut down, or you just pull away from people. You don't want to be close. Because if they're close, then they're going to see the dissonance. It's going to be obvious to them. So this has ramifications in a life that is in people's lives, basically. And if what we're doing, this whole thing about mental wellness, remember, is that you are emotionally well, you're spiritually connected, that you are psychologically well, is that you're financially able to support yourself and maybe give to others. It is that you're socially relevant. It is the whole spectrum of things. It is literally you becoming the best person that you can be, every day showing up for life. And so if that is the case, then dissonance is not what we want. We want consistency. So I hope that today you would decide to move away from an unexamined life and move it into a life that is examined, and have consistency in your thoughts. You will thank yourself for taking the time to do this. I'll see you next time. This is Dr. Akinoto Marino from JARS Education, and I'll talk to you later.